Welcome back to the Flatbush Roundtable, everyone. I'm Chris, and bear with me for a second because I have a question. What if I could sum up the secret of success in just one word? Would you listen? Do I have your attention? All right. Secret of success. Well, what is success, right? It's essentially accomplishing an aim or a goal or reaching a point that you've been striving for, right? All of the same thing. And we all do that, whether it's short term goals, long term goals. We do it in our everyday life, right? Whether we're entrepreneurs, office workers, students, doesn't matter. So, what's this word? Bet you're still wondering? Well, simply put, the word is communication. Now, hear me out. Communication is actually the driving force behind success. And let me explain to you why. What is communication? Communication is just the exchanging or imparting, receiving information, receiving or giving information, whichever you want to choose. That's the official definition. But what does it really mean? We tend to interpret communication as a conversation, right? Like I'm having, hopefully with you right now, I'm talking, you're engaged. A little bit one-sided because I'm on YouTube, yes, but it's still a form of communication. But communication is a lot bigger than what we think. Think of something you like to do. Think of your favorite movie. Think of your favorite person, right? All of the relationships we have, the baseline for how they started is communication. So let's go back to movies real quick. Actors, right? Now, I know you're thinking, what is acting? They're just playing a character that they had to learn from a script or a book, but actually that's a form of communication. You see, they're taking the information from that about that character and they're channeling that character's emotions, that character's mindset, that character's thought process on screen, and we're receiving it. A lot of what we do with communication is nonverbal. Right? You seen a movie? Has it made you cry? Has it made you mad? Has it made you sad? All of those emotions that you're receiving were elicited or essentially were brought upon by watching that movie, which means that movie communicated to you what it needed to do. Right? How many people here love Deadpool and Wolverine? It was a fun movie, comedic. During the scene when Deadpool and Wolverine, spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't seen it, by the way, during the scene, Deadpool and Wolverine, when they were holding hands to, reach the reactor and save the world, a lot of us got a little emotional. Thought it was really cool, right? That's a part of the emotion until Hugh Jackman's entire top ripped off, and then a lot of people were like oogling, right? Like shocked, like impressed. All of those are emotions. The motive, the reasoning, the actions that all took place is a form of communication that swelled up, that made us, the listeners, swell up with emotion. We received the information that they translated, and we enjoyed ourselves. Right? So now think about that in your everyday life. Think about the people you talk to. That's a form of communication. Right? Think about the person you're with. Or if you have kids, your child. Every time you help someone out, that's a form of communication. If you help out a friend, I care about you, right? I'm not saying it verbally, but I'm doing something to show them, hey, you need my assistance, I got you, right? That communicated to them that they can rely on you and that you care about them, right? So communication isn't just trying to talk to one person or another. It's actually one of the most important skill sets you will need, right? Now, you may think I'm just saying this because I'm on YouTube, right? Because a lot of YouTubers are just creating videos and, all of that is how well they communicate, right? How well they spark your interest to come and watch the content. But I'm actually saying this as a person who's been a data guy for most of his life. I thought that when I graduated college, I'm just going to be working with numbers behind a computer all day long, and I never have to talk to anyone. That was my mindset for the first 3 years of my life. And then I got a reality check, right? Because I'll tell you right now, 80% of my job is communication, and I have not changed fields. And I'm an accountant. So what do I mean, right? When I get when I get a data set, I need to either translate, fix up, summarize, or even when someone's doing data entry. All of those are forms of communication. I'm taking something off paper, I'm taking something from one system and putting it into another, or I'm summarizing something so it's easier for other people to understand and see the story, right? Because I'm using my skills that I've developed to generate the story so I can tell people this is how the business is performing. This is how this promotion is running. This is how this situation is being handled. It's all a form of communication, right? And that comes from developing the skill set. Now, am I a better communicator than I was 10 years ago? Absolutely. I'm also a better accountant than I was 10 years ago. So, in part, I'm just trying to say, yes, the secret to success is communication. And you need to start thinking about how you communicate to people. That bad coworker you don't like, maybe they're just stuck at communication. I say this because I also have met coworkers that I did not vibe well with. But I realize now it's because they didn't know how to talk to people. Usually it's a cultural barrier. Sometimes it's a mindset. You know, I started off my career in New York, and the mentality of my boss was you're either doing your job or you're doing a bad job. Because I don't pay you to say a good job. You're already getting paid. Right? But now I wanted to have not now, but in my life, I've had another boss where he likes to give people pats on the backs to let them know that you're doing a good job, because to him, that's how he motivates his employees. Versus the other guy who was just, you're either doing your job or you're doing a bad job. That's all it is. It's black or white. Right? Now, all that is, it's two different people with two different communication skills because they understand the world differently. So I don't have any qualms or dislike for the person with bad communication skills, right? Now, there's a saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't let them drink. But people are going to be forced to change, because if you're in an environment where you're not open-minded and you can't communicate well, people are going to shun you, and you won't be able to build those beneficial relationships for the future. So I hope that person who said I was either doing my job or I'm doing a bad job, I hope he changed. I hope he became a better communicator. Right? So think about that if you're a student. Think about that if you're a corporate office worker. Think about that if you're in construction. Right? You can't build phenomenal structures and locations without being able to communicate well. When someone draws up plans, you still got to be able to read it and build it, or tell people what specific parts they need to do and lay brick by brick. So that all of that is communication. So before I start rambling on, I'm just saying, communication is a very important part of life, right? It's actually, to me, in my personal opinion, the key to success, right? When people say work smart, not hard, to me, they're just telling me to be a better communicator. When you go to a job interview, right? You have to sell yourself. It doesn't matter what field or position you are. You have to sit down and talk the talk, right? Because people won't be able to see you walk the walk as much as you talk the talk. Have you ever had someone get a job that they didn't qualify for? Happens all the time because they knew how to communicate well. They may not know how to have the proper Excel skills, the proper finance, accounting, marketing, whatever skills, but they were able to sit down in that interview and talk. Or if it wasn't for that interview, they could have sucked in the interview, but they had probably developed a relationship with someone who highly recommended them, right? I can't sell myself as well, but this guy who I worked with, he knows I'm a hard worker, so he's going to recommend me to be on his team. In part, even it's not the same communication, but it's still a form of communication. So you want to learn to develop these skills in different categories. So let me know, right, in the comments, what kind of job you guys do, what kind of communication you guys do that you probably didn't realize. Or what skills have you developed that made you a better communicator? And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment on the video. I hope I hear from you guys. Chris out.